All right, welcome everyone to the August council meeting. Thank you everyone who's joining us in the gallery and everyone joining us online. If everyone could please stand for the original prayer, opening prayer and original custodian statement. Almighty God, grant to this council wisdom, understanding and sincerity of purpose for the good governance of this city. Amen. And council acknowledges the Peak Wurrong and Kaurai Wurrong peoples of the Maar Nation, the land, waterways and skies within the Warrnambool municipality. We pay our respects to their elders, past and present. Thank you everyone. Please be seated. We'll move on to item 2, which is apologies, and I don't believe there are any apologies this afternoon. So we'll now move on to item 3, confirmation of minutes. The minutes have been circulated to everyone. Do we have any questions or concerns with them? Do we have a mover? Councillor Walsh. And a seconder, Councillor Arnott. All those in favour? Passed unanimously. We'll now move on to item 4, which is the declaration of conflicts of interest by any councillors. So does anyone have any conflicts they wish to declare this afternoon? Councillor Edis.
Thanks, Mayor. I declare a conflict with item 7.2, the roundabout banner policy. No
worries at all. Thank you, Councillor Edis. We'll ask you to please leave the room, to please turn off your camera and leave the room when we get to that item, if that's all right. Thank you. No other conflicts? We'll now move on to item 5, which is the mayoral presentation. It is a really big July and you can feel, it was a really big July and you can feel it's winter, especially outside today. It was great. I got to actually go and open Kid Fest this month. It was a really great event supported by the Festival and Events Fund, which the next round of funding's up later this afternoon. And a big congratulations to Tina and Emma for what they've done over the what they did over the July school holidays. Citizenship was, we had a really big citizenship ceremony. Over 47 new citizens were sworn into the Warrnambool district, which was really, which was a really great day. Peter's Project as well, they celebrated their 10 years of community service. That was a huge community effort. It's amazing to think that over 3,500 people have accessed that service since it opened, and thanks Vicky for having us that Thursday night. And I also attended the Fire Brigade annual dinner, and I just want to say a really big thank you to Tom Woodhams, Greg Kinross, Rob Howell and all of the CFA volunteers for all they do, because it really is such an important service across our city. We'll now move on to item 6, public question time. Mr Mason.
Mayor, we have 2 public questions for tonight's meeting, and I'll deal with them sequentially. So the first question is quite a detailed one from Mr Rod Blake in relation to the Warrnambool boat ramp and jetties. Councillors have been provided with a full copy of the question, and given its very detailed nature and the fact that it's over effectively 2 questions in length, I won't read the whole set of questions, but we will obviously provide Mr Blake a detailed response to his questions. So in summary, when the works to improve the jetties at the local ramp were completed by Warrnambool City Council and Better Boating Victoria, both organisations agreed to monitor wave conditions at the boat ramp to ensure users were operating in a safe environment. Since the works were completed in 2022, wave conditions at the boat ramp have not improved, and Mr Blake also notes that the surface of the boat ramp is often quite slippery. So in response to that, and again noting that we will give Mr Blake a detailed response to his questions, but in response to that, in a broad sense, is that we agree, and Council is keen to see continued improvements at the harbour and boat ramp. It's really important to recognise that Council is the manager, not the owner of this infrastructure, and as such, all of these works need to be funded by the state government. Our current advocacy priority, which is available on our website, has been to advocate for improvements to the breakwater because we see that as the highest priority given its deterioration. And we continue to call on the state government to provide funding for those works to be undertaken. The second question, Mayor, is from Mr. Psychopoulos, Peter Psychopoulos. The question is, in recent years, Australia Day celebrations in Warrnambool have been lacklustre. Will Australia Day, January 26, 2027, be recognised and endorsed by Warrnambool City Council as an official council observed day of celebration? If so, what official activities are planned? Now, Mayor, I believe that you were keen to answer this one, so I'll leave that one with you.
No, thank you, Mr. Mason, and thank you, Mr. Sokopoulos, for the question. So Australia Day is not currently in the adopted recognised events, but it is recognised as a public holiday, and Council reviews recognised events every year, and there'll be an opportunity to consider whether or not Australia Day will go in that in the coming year. And Council currently holds our Citizen of the Year and citizenship ceremony shortly before Australia Day, with this event being well attended, and this event is reviewed every year by Council, so it's something that can be considered within the as we move towards January. Thank you, Mr. Mason. We'll now move on to item 7, the reports. 7.1, Sponsorship Policy 2026. Mr. Mason.
Thank you, Mayor. The sponsorship policy is an existing policy that has been reviewed and updated. And it's noted that the policy was from 2015. Council doesn't currently have any existing sponsorship arrangements that are in effect, but the policy will provide a useful framework for considering any sponsorship proposals should they eventuate. Not that we particularly see anything coming up, but it's good to have an agreed policy framework in place. The recommendation in 3 parts is before you.
Thank you, Mr. Mason. Are there any questions? Do we have a mover? Councillor Benter.
Thank you, Mayor. I'd like to move the officer's recommendation, but with a 4th point to the resolution. I'd like to add dot 4, which is amend the sponsorship policy 2026 adopted under -2 above by inserting the following dot point into the list of excluded sponsorship arrangements at clause 3.2.1 immediately after dot point relating to tobacco, which refers to manufacture, distribution, wholesaling or retailing of alcohol products.
Yeah, you go. Sorry.
Wrong way around.
That's not an amendment to this policy, it's the next one.
No, it was a sponsorship policy.
What's the sponsorship policy?
Yes, it's
Sure.
missing the line, yeah.
Okay, apologies, my apologies then, I thought
Yep.
it was, sorry.
Sorry, go for it,
Yeah.
Councillor Hunt. Sorry.
Please go
that
ahead,
was-
yeah.
Relate, or retailing of alcohol products. It was,
Yeah, no, that's, so the intent is, Councillor Benter, that you're moving an amendment, as you've outlined there, which has been, so it's been circulated to all councillors via the governance officer. You're including a 4th dot point that effectively means that it will exclude alcohol and tobacco within the sponsorship policy, so it can't be used for council sponsorship. That's the intent?
Sorry.
yes, it is, Mayor.
Yep, that's right. And the dot point 4 has been circulated to all
Yes.
councillors as well
Sorry.
to be included. Yep, sorry. Yep. Do we have a seconder for that? Councillor Walsh? Councillor Benter?
Yeah, thank you, Mayor. Yes, this was just an oversight to be added, because on the page 6 of the document, you can clearly see where it's been crossed out, but then to be put back into the text underneath, and it's just been missed in that regards to that. Also, I'd like to comment on the policy that it's just made a lot clearer in what's required for sponsors and for active agreements between council and the sponsors, or future active agreements. I see it as a partnership document in a way too, because at times we've relied on sponsorship to provide joint events. Years ago with the Business Awards, with PowerCore, we've had individual businesses also supply playground equipment at new areas. So it just sets out clear definitions, goods in kind or money in regards to that. So, and also the register that will be reviewed each year, a part of this too, as an overview, which is good. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Benter. Councillor Walsh.
Thank you, Mayor. Thank you, Councillor Benter, in particular for that amendment. I think that makes perfect sense for that to be included. Obviously, as was touched on in the opening, this was a policy that was last updated in 2015. So I'm very happy to see this come back, in particular with pretty wholesale changes, which I think is absolutely fantastic. It really clears up the roles and responsibilities for everyone involved with this sponsorship stuff. So council laws role, CEO and executive team role, staff role, and financial services as well as the policy owner. So I'm happy to support the updates to this policy. Makes it really clear, makes it easy for people to do their jobs, which I think is great and shows good governance, which is something I'm really big on. So,
Thank you, Councillor Walsh. Any other councillor wish to speak? Councillor Ziegler.
Thanks, Mayor. Yes, I thank Councillor Benter for bringing up the amendment, the addition to the sponsorship policy. I think it's incumbent upon council to be a bit more responsible in terms of the alcohol issue, and it just makes perfect sense. I'm glad that the updating of the sponsorship policy is now a little bit more complete than it was.
Thank you, Councillor Ziegler. Any other councillor wish to speak? I'd just like to add, especially with the updated sponsorship policy, there are opportunities for council here, and it's something that, you know, I personally think we should be looking around, especially when it comes to our events and projects, we've got clear guidelines that are needed, and this policy does show that, but I do think it does open up the opportunity to look at more and more sponsorship for more and more things that we are actually doing at council, you know, not just for council's benefit, but for the benefit of our wider community as well. Councillor Benter, do you wish to add anything to close?
No, thank you, Mayor.
With no further speakers, we'll now put the motion to the vote. All those in favour? Passed unanimously. We'll now move on to item 7.2, which is the roundabout banner policy. Mr Mason.
Thank you, Mayor. The roundabout banner policy was adopted in 2025. Since that time, two changes have been identified, and that is a relatively minor one in that we're suggesting that the booking fee be removed from the policy because this fee is already included in council's fees and charges schedule. And the second change is to prohibit the display of gambling operator names and the like, logos, etc., from the banners when they're displayed on our roundabouts. Recommendation, two parts before you.
Thank you, Mr Mason. Have we any questions on that one? Do we have a mover? Councillor Arnott.
Thank you, Mayor. I would like to move that the council revoke the roundabout policy 2025 and adopt the roundabout policy 2026.
Thank you. And sorry, Councillor Arnott, I know you've moved. I should have mentioned, and thank you, Councillor Edis has left the meeting, so Councillor Edis won't be voting on this item. Sorry, my apologies. Yes, Councillor Arnott, do we have a seconder? Councillor Walsh. Councillor Arnott.
Thank you, Mayor. The most significant change in this policy is the prohibition of references to gambling in the roundabout banner displays, and it includes betting operator names, logos, trademarks, betting agency brands, websites, QR codes and sponsorship acknowledgements, which is quite a few really. I feel this is a really important and responsible step for council. We have been the only user group displaying banners that include betting agency logos, and as a council we have a responsibility to ensure our public spaces reflect the values of our community and do not promote activities that are known to cause harm. Now, by removing gambling and related advertising, we're sending a clear message that council is committed to promoting healthy, safe and inclusive public spaces. This change, it does align with our role in protecting community wellbeing and reducing exposure to gambling, particularly for children and young people. So I'm very happy to support this new policy.
Thank you,
Mayor.
Councillor Arnott. Councillor Walsh.
thank you, Mayor. Thank you, Councillor Arnott. Just to add just a little bit to what Councillor Arnott said, obviously we covered this in an earlier meeting, in particular around electronic gaming machines. So again, we're just showing our commitment to harm minimisation when it comes to gambling, which can be problematic for parts of the community. So it's important that as a council we show that we do not support it. This is obviously a little bit of a tricky one. Obviously, May races is a big part of the identity of Warrnambool, which is obviously, again, related to gambling. We have obviously spoken to the racing club. We have some sort of support there from them to basically do this, but just to be clear that we have had the conversation, it's important that this is something as a council that we do, so happy to support it.
Thank you, Councillor Walsh. Any other councillor wish to speak? Councillor Ziegler.
Thanks, Mayor. Yes, look, it's worth noting that the banners that involve the racing club and the TAB mentions on those banners are not on all of the roundabouts. It's only a few of them, and it's also worth making the point that the racing club is free to put up their own banners without reference to a betting agency. So so long as they decided to make that expenditure, they could put up their own to promote the May races. I don't see that that's a huge issue for them. They could do it without putting a specific betting agency logo on them.
Thank you, Councillor Ziegler. Any other councillor wish to speak? And I'd just like to add too, when it comes to the roundabout banner policy, the roundabouts all year round do actually look really great in our city. They advertise so many different events and so many different things. It's actually something I really love to go and see, as you can, as you see the seasons change, you see the weeks change and all these different roundabouts. So it really is an important advertising feature for so many events, and I encourage more and more organisations to use the roundabouts to promote their events, because we want to see that colour and vibrancy all the way through, our city and the CBD. Councillor Arnott, do you wish to have anything to close?
No, thank you, Mayor.
With no further speakers, we'll now put the motion to the vote. All those in favour? Passed unanimously. I'll now get Councillor Edis to come back in. Very good. Councillor Edis, that was passed unanimously. We'll now move on to...
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. We'll now move on to item 7.3, the Planning Scheme Amendment C220 WARR adoption. Mr Mason.
Thank you, Mayor. This planning scheme amendment seeks to apply the heritage overlay to a property at 2 Mortlake Road, and it also proposes to adjust the extent of an existing heritage overlay for a property on Raglan Parade. The amendment has been subject to public notice, and it is recommended that the amendment be adopted and submitted to the Minister for Planning for approval.
Thank you, Mr Mason. Were there any questions on that? Do we have a mover? Councillor Walsh.
Thank you, Mayor. I wish to move that Council 1 adopts Amendment C220 WARR to the Warrnambool Planning Scheme in accordance with Section 29(1) of the Planning Environment Act 1987 without changes. 2, submits Amendment C220 WARR to the Minister for Planning for approval in accordance with Section 31(1) of the Planning Environment Act 1987.
Thank you, Councillor Walsh. Do we have a seconder for that? Councillor Ziegler. Councillor Walsh.
Thank you, Mayor. As Mr Mason touched on, heritage protection to 2 Mortlake Road, also known as Kerry Lodge Cottage, which dates back at least before 1857, from what we can tell. So, absolutely happy to support that. The other part is 1A Reginald Grove, 83 Raglan Parade and 71 Raglan Parade, Warrnambool, which is a good balance between making sure we maintain and also providing opportunity. So it's important to note that we didn't get any submissions during the exhibition process, so it's apparent maybe that the community either isn't interested or doesn't care. So I'm happy to take that with a grain of salt. But yeah, happy to support this one.
Thank you, Councillor Walsh. Councillor Ziegler.
Yes, I'm more than happy to support this particular addition to the heritage policy. I think that it's imperative that we retain the important heritage aspects of our town. We've lost far too much through irresponsible heritage decisions in the past. Warrnambool is much the poorer for not keeping some of the buildings that we in fact had and have now lost. So it's important that both of these places are subject to heritage controls.
Thank you, Councillor Ziegler. Any other councillor wish to speak? And I'd just like to add too, it is really good to see this progressing to the Minister as one of the oldest houses in Warrnambool, and also clearing up some other heritage overlays to encourage more development while protecting some of the other heritage areas of our city is another really key part of this item. Councillor Walsh, do you wish to add anything to close?
Nothing further. Thanks, Mayor.
With no further speakers, we'll now put the motion to the vote. All those in favour? Passed unanimously. We'll now move on to item 7.4, the Warrnambool Open Space Project. Mr Mason.
Thank you, Mayor. This report follows the recent adoption by Council of the Open Space Strategy. This report recommends that you effectively start the process to prepare a planning scheme amendment that would introduce both the open space strategy and an open space contributions report into the planning scheme. The effect of this would be that it would provide greater clarity on open space contributions for future subdivisions. There is a three-part recommendation on page 18, but it effectively kicks the process off.
Thank you, Mr Mason. Were there any further questions? Do we have a mover? Councillor Arnott.
Thank you, Mayor. I'd like to move the officer's recommendation.
Thank you, Councillor Arnott. Do we have a seconder? Councillor Walsh. Councillor Arnott.
Okay, this took a little bit of reading and to get through, actually. The report is based on an independent analysis prepared by SGS Economics and Planning, and it has considered a range of important factors, including current planning policy, projected population growth, housing and development capacity, and the existing provision of open space, appropriate contribution rates, and how the scheme should be implemented. The analysis recommends an open space contribution of 5.17% for standard density development and 4.65% for rural living and low density residential areas. Now, these rates have been determined to ensure that there is broadly the same contribution per dwelling, regardless of the type of density or development. Importantly, these contributions will be calculated at the planning permit stage, and it will provide developers with certainty about costs early in the development process. The independent assessment also found that the proposed contribution rates are expected to have only a minimal impact on housing affordability. Including a clear contribution percentage in the planning scheme, I feel, is a sensible and transparent approach. It provides greater certainty for developers while ensuring council can continue to deliver the parks, playgrounds and open spaces that our growing community expects and deserves. As Warrnambool continues to grow, it is essential that our investment in open space keeps pace with development. This policy ensures that growth contributes fairly to the public infrastructure that benefits everyone. So I'm happy to support this motion. Thank you, Mayor.
Councillor Arnott. Councillor Walsh.
Thank you, Mayor. Thanks, Councillor Arnott. That was an absolutely fantastic summary because I had the same trouble as you. That
took a bit,
some, that took some work, I tell you,
Did a good job.
to get that one. Obviously, back in July, we moved the strategy, which is fantastic. This is obviously the piece of work that follows it. I just want to pick off one point that was covered by Councillor Arnott, and that's the the clarity by having that in the planning scheme. Developers know where they stand, the community knows where they stand. Open space is incredibly important. It's the one thing that we value around here. So I'm happy to support this. I think we push this up through to the minister and we get it done, and it's a great result for the community. It's real clarifying for those out there who want to invest in our city from a development perspective. They know where those contributions and stuff sit. So happy to.
Thank you, Councillor Walsh. Any other councillor wish to speak? No other councillor wish to speak. Councillor Arndt, do you wish to add anything to close?
Oh, no, I think I've said enough. Thank you.
I'd just like to note that Councillor Ziegler has lost connection, so he won't be voting on this.
Oh, he's back.
All right, Councillor Ziegler is back, so we'll now put the motion to a vote. All those in favour? Passed unanimously. We'll now move on to item 7.5, the Annual Action Plan 2025-2026, status update quarter 4. Mr Mason.
It's recommended that Council receive the final quarterly Annual Action Plan report for the 25-26 financial year. The report really shows some great work that has been done last financial year. We've had really good completion rates of actions and projects, and it really shows the delivery of a great deal of work and actions by Council's hardworking staff. So a recommendation before you that the report be received.
Thank you, Mr Mason. Are there any questions? Do we have a mover? Councillor Walsh.
Thank you, Mayor. I wish to move that the Annual Action Plan 2025-26 April to June quarter 4 be received.
Thank you, Councillor Walsh. Do we have a seconder? Councillor Jelly. Councillor Walsh.
Thank you, Mayor. As the CEO touched on in the introduction, lots of good progress through all of those, through the vast majority of those items, which I think is really great, showing that the organisation is getting on with the things that, as a council or group, we talked about and set for objectives. So, obviously, 38 pages of things in there, so which I think is absolutely fantastic. Things like increased programs at the neighbourhood house, which is absolutely fantastic. So, yeah, still some things to be done. Obviously, a couple that didn't get actioned, which are shown to be getting carried over, which I think is good. So, lots of work done, lots of work still to be done. So.
Thank you, Councillor Walsh. Councillor Jelly.
Thank you, Mayor. Yes, agree. A lot of things ticked off. Still some work to be done on many as well. But great to see that there's some wonderful outcomes for the city over the end of that this year. Again, we've got the East Warrnambool Local Area Traffic Management Plan. That was completed, and projects from this plan are now being considered and funding opportunities coming available. Busy area there near the school and aged care, a lot of traffic. So that's something good to have that ticked off and to be able to move forward into the next part of that. It's very important. Our Solstice Search annual free event, again, drew community on a bit of a cold, wet night, but 5,000 attendees just shows that it's well worth running and people appreciate, especially a free family event. Also, the completed roundabout at the Croydon and Wright Streets, that's just a boon. That's much needed for many years in that precinct up near the hospital, much safer for everyone, traffic calming, and a great come to have that finished. And as Councillor Walsh said, the West Warrnambool Neighbourhood House continues to kick goals out there. I still believe that was one of the best projects we've had completed, well under $1 million, and it keeps giving to the community, lots of learning opportunities, and congratulations to staff and volunteers who work out there. So some great things happening.
Thank you, Councillor Jelly. Councillor Arnott.
Yes, thank you, Mayor. We have achieved a great deal, and obviously there's still important work ahead of us. We will continue to advocate strongly for the upgrade to the whale viewing platform and to deliver stage 3 of the Lake Patobe Master Plan. Both these projects will provide long-term benefits for our residents and visitors, and we remain committed to securing the funding needed. I'd also like to mention that we were able to get a speed reduction between the Great Ocean Road and the Speedway. New signage reflecting the revised 80-kilometre speed limit. We're also continuing to invest in sustainability. 4 electric vehicle chargers will be installed at the Civic Centre and a further 4 planned for the council demo. Environmental management priorities remains a priority, and we continue to work to reduce rabbit numbers along the foreshore to protect our valuable coastal environment. It's also fantastic to see that the Coastal Connect project has finally gone live. That has been a long haul. It's an important milestone, and hopefully we'll be able to deliver some greater efficiencies within the organisation. Advocacy remains a key focus, and we'll also work alongside the Warrnambool Surf Life Saving Club in seeking funding for a new clubhouse. It's vital for the safety of our beaches and the ongoing service the club provides for our community. However, there is one item in our action plan that I do wish to speak about, and I've found it deeply frustrating that the proposed 50-dwelling key worker and affordable housing project at Harrington Road has taken 21 months just to reach the Minister's desk. In the middle of a housing crisis where our community is crying out for homes for essential worker and affordable housing, this level of delay is simply indefensible. Every month of bureaucracy means more nurses, teachers, police, hospitality workers and other essential staff struggle to find somewhere to live, while families continue to be priced out of the market. Now, if we are serious about addressing housing shortages, governments must remove unnecessary red tape and prioritise projects that deliver real outcomes for our community. Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you, Councillor Arnott. Any other councillor wish to speak? Councillor Ziegler.
Thanks, Mayor. Yes, I'll endorse the comments of my fellow councillors with this. The first point I'd like to make is that it confounds me on this particular issue, because it's clear that council's been able to achieve quite a bit of good material, good stuff throughout the year. We've done an awful lot. The figures show it, but it seems to be material that the people who responded in our feedback survey didn't see or understand. The 2 results don't seem to gel to my way of thinking. It's just a comment. But the feedback survey earlier this year wasn't hugely satisfactory, but this particular outcome is a very good one. The point that Councillor Arnott made about the state government not being able to assist us as much as we need or want is a very valid point made. So much of what we'd be able to achieve depends on funding and assistance from other levels of government, and we don't get it. And that's where we fall down so often.
Thank you, Councillor Ziegler. Any other councillor wish to speak? Councillor Benter.
Thank you, Mayor. Yeah, this document, it's good to see some positives out of it, that's for sure. The increased engagements with the art gallery When Aaron first come to us with a strategy and a plan for the art gallery, I thought, oh, he's got some challenges, but he seems to be delivering over there, which is great. Getting more interaction, had some good shows, and yeah, that's really positive. It's good to see the growth at the Aquazone, strong growth there as well. And the first year of the Creative Warrnambool strategy, and I think it's been tremendous with events and engagement with the arty, creative industry of Warrnambool. And there's been positive feedback from that program as well, which is fabulous. The Great South Coast Dharma program, when it first, I was here at a meeting years ago, when it first came out, I thought, why is council getting involved with this? But over time, it's really a key pinnacle piece for Warrnambool and the region for employment. And I'm glad that council did get involved for steering that and continue and advocating for it to keep it, because we're going to lose it. Because to employers in this region, it's been magnificent. So as far as Dharma goes, it's been great. Yeah, so there's a lot of positives, a lot of good achievements, and thank you to the staff that have achieved to these outcomes.
Thank you, Councillor Benter. Any other councillor wish to speak? Councillor Walsh, do you wish to add anything to close?
Thank you, Mayor. Just a couple of things that was a bit remiss of me to mention. I'm glad Councillor Benter touched on Dharma. 204 workers, 229 dependents. That's a fantastic program, I think. And just the other thing, the industrial estate footpath out near Braithwaite Street, Albert Street, McMeekin Road, down to Merivale Drive. If it's not already finished, it'll be pretty close.
It is finished.
It is finished. Good.
Councillor Walsh.
Fantastic. Great project, delivered with help of the government, the federal government, and also council. So absolutely great result for people in and around that area to just be able to walk around, which, you know, footpaths are worth millions of dollars to the community that enable them to get around whenever they need to. And the other thing I'll just touch on is what Councillor Arnott talked about in terms of the Harrington Road project. Extremely frustrating. We really need that government support, and we need things to move quicker, because we're probably in a position where that's lost to us now, and that's extremely disappointing. And I'm sure it's more disappointing for Councillor Jalley, Councillor Arnott, and Councillor Blaine, who were responsible for the initiation of that project back in the previous term. So add serious disappointment to the fact that it's probably going to come to that, and it's only a negative for the community, really. So that's all. Thanks, Mayor.
Thank you, Councillor Walsh. And it's, I know Councillor Arnott just speaking on the Harrington Road. The ask is pretty clear where we sit at the moment, where we need the funding for the enabling infrastructure, and there's 50 homes that could be delivered in a very short period of time. And it's something that needs state funding to be able to achieve that, state and federal funding. And, you know, I'd call on our local members to remember that we're trying to make differences in people's lives and businesses' lives across the city. With no further speakers, we'll now put the motion to the vote. All those in favour? Passed unanimously. All right, we'll now move on to item 7.6, Festival and Events Fund Allocated Funding Report. Mr Mason.
Thank you, Mayor. This report recommends that Council allocate nearly $200,000 to 28 eligible events under the Festival and Events Grants Program. Funding from Council allows a range of events to be held, and all of these events contribute to economic development, but also city vibrancy. And we know that a city that's vibrant and active really is a big draw card. So a recommendation is before you in 3 parts on page 28.
Thank you, Mr Mason. Were there any questions? Do we have a mover? Councillor Arnott.
Thank you, Mayor. I'd like to move the officer's recommendation. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Arnott. Do we have a seconder? Councillor Ziegler. Sorry, Councillor Arnott.
Thank you, Mayor. a very strong response to this funding round. It demonstrates just how vibrant Warrnambool's event sector continues to be. We received 37 applications, which is 9 more than the previous funding round. And these applications requested more than $355,000 in funding, an increase of over $104,000 on the last round. And it clearly highlights the growing demand for support and the important role council plays in helping local events succeed. Of the applications received, 9 were deemed ineligible, 10 are recommended to receive full funding and 18 are recommended to receive partial funding, with a total allocation of $196,632. The funding supports a diverse range of events that contribute significantly to our community. Recipients include the Warrnambool Gift, the Easter Arts Festival and the Warrnambool Community Garden, each delivering unique experiences that enhance the cultural and social life of our city. The objectives of the program are clear: to create a diverse calendar of events, attract overnight visitors, generate economic activity for local businesses and strengthen our reputation as a destination for tourism and events. We also invest in some major events that have a significant economic impact, like the Victorian Junior Lifesaving Championships, hosted by Lifesaving Victoria, the Grand Annual Spring Car Classic, the May Racing Carnival and the Jericho Cup, the Melbourne to Warrnambool Cycling Classic, and our important community commemorations, including Anzac Day and Remembrance Day. Now, these events bring thousands of visitors to Warrnambool. They support local accommodation providers, cafes, restaurants and retailers, and create opportunities for community participation and volunteer involvement. They also showcase Warrnambool as a welcoming and vibrant regional city. So I'm happy to support the motion. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Arnott. Councillor Ziegler.
Thanks, Mayor. Yes, I endorse Councillor Arnott's comments. All of those particular activities are wonderful. It's a reflection of how rich the social life and community activity life in Warrnambool is. But I would make just point out the slight typo, which could be embarrassing. The Multicultural Association was awarded too many zeros in their fund. Looks like it's 100,000, not 10,000.
Yes, we'll get. Yes. Sorry. Yes, Councillor Ziegler. We'll have that. We will have that amended. Everyone's agreeable. Everyone's agreeable to that amendment, I'm assuming. Yes. Yes. Yep. Sorry. Thank you, Councillor Ziegler. You don't have any more, Councillor Ziegler?
No, I've said my bit. Thank you.
Does anyone on the council wish to speak? Councillor Edis?
Thank you, Mayor. Yeah, completely agree with Councillor Arnott and Councillor Ziegler's comments. I think the great thing this document shows is the transparency of what the funds are actually going to be used for, so that we can actually look and see that for whatever particular applicant would use it, for example, for venue hire or for security, just things that help them out, the costs that they don't have to worry about. So, yeah, great initiative. It's a good news story for the council, and good to see so many local events that have been supported by council with this fund.
Thank you, Councillor Edis. Any other council wish to speak? Councillor Walsh.
Thank you, Mayor. As others have stated, it's fantastic for our community. 6 events that have not received funding previously, so that shows we're in a good state. People are keen to run events, and the community is keen to jump in and attend them. 7 in summer, 11.5 in autumn and 8.5 in spring, so obviously someone's shoehorning either side of autumn and spring to weather chances, I suppose, and 1 in winter. So a spread. Would like to see some more events join our wonderful solstice search party in winter, but we can't make that happen. We have the rodeo coming back 2027, which is great. It'd be nice to see Targa Classica back again. That was a great event a year or two ago. The Oz Cycling BMX State Series also being held here, which is a great initiative for the BMX club. They're doing great things down there. For anyone that's seen some of that stuff in the paper recently, we had some good results for some of those young people in the Australian Championship. So again, anywhere that we can support the community with events, I think it's a great thing for everyone. So happy to endorse.
Thank you, Councillor Walsh. Any other councillor wish to speak? Councillor Ziegler?
Yeah, just quickly, again, Mayor, I'd like to point out that the groups that actually missed out on funding, it was often because they didn't complete the applications as requested. They didn't provide the information that was asked of them. It's not a reflection on their particular activity necessarily, but mostly about the fact that their applications weren't what council officers were seeking. So it's worth noting that if your organisation wants some assistance from council, to follow that application fairly closely and provide the information that we need to make the decisions.
Thank you, Councillor Ziegler. Any other councillor wish to speak? Councillor Benter.
Thank you, Mayor. Yeah, just like to concur with all fellow councillors. This is part of the fabric what makes Warrnambool great. All these events, if you work that out, it's 28 events, 52 weeks. So it's one every 2 weeks that we're helping supporting. So this goes to the tourism, activate in Warrnambool. It's a great thing. The community development fund's coming up next, but it's all part of that that makes us one of the most livable cities to get that. There's so many things that they do, but this is, it's just great, the events that they have it into here.
Thank you, Councillor Benter. Any other councillor wish to speak? And I'd just quickly like to add to it, is always great when we're doing the Festival and Events Fund, nearly $200,000 being given out in the community. It totally feeds the activation for our city. And if anyone does have any events in July, please take the time to apply. There is funding left over. July is always a tricky time of year and we always want to see more and more events in July. Councillor Arnott, do you wish to add anything to close?
Yeah, I'll just say that, look, while it is disappointing that we cannot fully fund every worthy application, I do believe the funding strikes a fair balance, but I would encourage maybe some events that have missed out this time, maybe they could reapply, talk to the officers and go from there. So thank you, Mayor.
Thank you, Councillor Arnott. With no further speakers, we'll now put the motion to the vote. All those in favour? Passed unanimously. All right, we'll now move on to item 7.7, the Community Development Fund 2026-2027. Mr Mason.
Thank you, Mayor. This report recommends that approximately $140,000 be allocated to 35 groups under the Community Development Fund. This funding provides vital support to a range of community groups who contribute to creating a strong and connected Warrnambool community. So two-part recommendation before you.
Thank you, Mr Mason. Were there any questions? Do we have a mover? Councillor Jelly.
Thanks, Mayor. I'd like to move the officer's recommendation in regard to this Community Development Fund. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Jelly. Do we have a seconder? Councillor Benter. Councillor Jelly.
Thank you, Mayor. As was the previous festivals and events funding, the Community Development Fund is fabulous to spread about $141,000 within the community for different groups, different things. 35 eligible groups this year with 47 applications. So, you know, it's great to spread some money around to groups, clubs, all different ones, some newer ones that have been around for a long time, so they can put back into what they're doing. There's, you know, Friends of the Botanical Gardens, Symphony Orchestra, Nestles Cricket Club, Warrnambool Surf Club, you know, all many iconic groups there that we have encouraged to apply each year, and it's great to see these groups and different entities applying and doing that. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Jelly. Councillor Benter.
Yeah, I concur with fellow councillor. It's 35 groups been successful with the grants, sharing in 141,000 roughly. These grants help these groups, helps fund community projects, equipment purchases, minor capital works, can help with community connection, inclusion, and some of the creative projects. There's a lot going on there. Some of the successful applicants been Mirabelle Cricket Club with the Growing Girls Cricket, Let's Talk Foundation, some mental health and wellbeing workshops, Warrnambool Springers, some safety, pit for the gymnastics, an extensive list again. Well done for all the applicants at receiving funding. This fund, it helps build better communities and back to being part of Warrnambool and building a better Warrnambool and the fabric of the city. It's a great outcome again.
Thank you, Councillor Benter. Any other councillor wish to speak? Councillor Arnott.
Thank you, Mayor. Look, we know that many of the smaller clubs and community organisations face increasing challenges in raising funds, and the cost of them running their programs, maintaining their facilities and purchasing equipment, it continues to rise, and volunteers are often working harder than ever to keep these organisations operating. So every dollar they raise is hard earned, and many groups simply couldn't deliver what they do without support. So as a councillor, I'm very happy to support what we've been able to do with the Community Development Fund. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Arnott. Any other councillor wish to speak? Councillor Ziegler. You're on mute, Councillor Ziegler.
It should be commented again that the applicants that missed out, whose applications were not supported because their applications didn't meet the criteria, should, if they wish to continue to apply for help next year, next round, they should speak more closely with the officers so that their applications meet a better chance.
Thank you, Councillor Ziegler. Any other councillor wish to speak? I'd just like to add as well, it's really great to see, and it was something that we haven't seen every year, that this was actually oversubscribed, and it's important to see, and it's important that we support so many groups that actually do so much, than they are the fabric of our community, as Councillor Bent has said. It's a really great thing that council actually does, another 140,000 going back into the community, and I'm looking forward to seeing everyone on Wednesday night at the awards ceremony for the awarding of the grants. Councillor Jelly, do you wish to add anything to close?
Yes, I think these groups will be very pleased with these announcements. And also thank you to our staff who go through all this with the criteria, make sure that each group has ticked all the boxes and select the right criteria for that. So thanks for doing that as well. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Jelly. With no further speakers, we'll now put the motion to the vote. All those in favour? Passed unanimously. All right, we'll now move on to item 7.8, the contract award, design and construction of Shipwreck Bay key worker accommodation. Mr. Mason.
Thank you, Mayor. This report recommends that a contract be awarded to Craft Flex for key worker housing accommodation at Shipwreck Bay Caravan Park. The tender received 9 submissions, and so showed a very competitive tender. Once complete, the contract will deliver 15 units and 32 bedrooms of key worker housing. this project was made possible by a significant grant from the state government of nearly $5 million. So a recommendation to award this contract is before you on page 42.
Thank you, Mr Mason. Were there any questions on this one before we go? Is there a mover? Councillor Arnott? So,
I'll go again.
I'm sorry, I'm just trying to share.
No,
Sorry.
Do you want okay,
Yeah.
that's all right. I'd like to move the officer's recommendation, thanks.
Thank you, Councillor Arnott. Do we have a seconder? Councillor Edis. Councillor Arnott.
Righto. Okay, so I'm really pleased to support the recommendation to award this tender to Craftlex for the delivery of the key worker accommodation project. It's a significant project that responds to one of the most pressing challenges facing Warrnambool today, and that's the shortage of key worker housing and appropriate rental accommodation. It continues to impact the ability of local employers to attract and retain the essential workers our community relies on, including those in healthcare, education, emergency services and other critical industries. Now, this project will deliver 15 self-contained dwellings comprising 3 one-bedroom units, 7 two-bedroom units and 5 three-bedroom units. They'll provide a quality accommodation for key workers and represent an important investment in the future of our city. This project is a result of council recognising a genuine need within the community and taking practical steps to address it. Housing options not only support essential workers, but they also strengthen our local economy. They help businesses and services to continue to operate effectively. The total project value of $5.69 million is a significant investment, and we did receive substantial funding from the state government. Now, it is essential that construction is carefully planned and managed to minimise disruption to the ongoing operations of Shipwreck Bay, and particularly during the peak visitor season. I'm confident the appropriate measures will be put in place to ensure the project is delivered while maintaining the visitor experience. This project demonstrates Council's commitment to finding innovative solutions to local housing challenges and supporting the long-term growth and prosperity of Warrnambool. Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you, Councillor Arnott. Councillor Edis.
Thank you, Mayor. Yeah, definitely concur with everything Councillor Arnott has said. It is great to finally have an award to a builder to get this thing moving. We've obviously spent a lot of time on it already in previous meetings regarding the trees. So it is great to see that this will move forward. And yeah, just want to acknowledge the council staff that had to sift through these tenders, because obviously having 9 tenders in a design and construct contract, you don't have a set of documents to compare like for like. So I know there was meticulous time spent by council staff to ensure that a fair and reasonable evaluation of all tenders was completed, and very happy to support the recommendation.
Thank you, Councillor Edis. Any other councillor wish to speak? Councillor Jelly.
Thank you. Yes, this is great to get this on the move, and it's happened reasonably quickly, really, and great to get so much interest. There was a lot of controversy about it earlier, about the trees, and as one of the councillors who agreed the trees must stay, I'm very pleased that we've been able to get the 15 dwellings and 32 bedrooms when it was thought that that could not happen. I'm sure that the group doing the construction of these will take special care, and I'm glad that the 100-year-old Norfolk Island pines at Shipwreck Bay will be preserved and the accommodation be there, and it all settle in well together. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Jelly. Any other councillor wish to speak? Councillor Ziegler. You're on.
Thanks, Mayor. Yes, I agree with Councillor Jelly. It's wonderful that we've been able to keep the trees and get the 32 bedrooms. It's also worth noting that should at any time the key worker accommodation not be necessary, the stock remains there for holiday accommodation too, to the benefit of the town. So it's a win-win situation for us.
Thank you, Councillor Ziegler. Any other councillor wish to speak? Councillor Walsh.
Thank you, Mayor. I kind of struggle a bit with these design and construction, the idea of approving a tender without seeing site layouts. I hope we're just not getting ahead of ourselves. I understand that's how it works, but it's very difficult to, obviously at face value, we're talking about cabin numbers and bedroom numbers, but until we actually get the design of this thing in front of our faces, I think it's really hard to, to totally agree or see that coming to fruition. I certainly hope we've made the right call on the company that's being awarded the tender. There does seem to be, at least from what I've seen, they are a newer company who may or may not have delivered something similar. So I certainly have some reservations around that. So I certainly want that noted, but credit to the staff, and it's their job to assess these tenders and make sure we're getting the right people. It's a significant amount of money. It's an absolutely fantastic project. I am in support of the project. Whether I agree with the Norfolk Pines and the risks that come with that, that's neither here nor there. So, yeah, keen to see some designs. I hope we hit the targets that we've said we're going to hit. Great for the community, desperately need housing. We talked about it in a previous item raised by Councillor Arnott around Harrington Road. We need this so bad. I just hope we've made the right call and these guys are able to deliver this project on time and under budget. So, yeah.
Thank you, Councillor Walsh. Councillor Benter?
Yeah, I'd like to concur with all fellow councillors and mainly with Councillor Walsh. It's an interesting challenge to do the design and construct and to put that amount of money out there for that project. At the briefings we had several discussions with staff and directors, and they're quite confident that the tenderer will be able to deliver what is required. It's taken a while to get to this process due to the trees, and thank you to the community again to bringing that to the table and advocating to keep the trees. And it appears like we're going to be able to manage both the cabins and the trees and the worker accommodation, which is a great outcome. I'm hoping that the project will come into the original funding of the 5.29 million, and the extra allocation that we allocated in the 26-27 budget of 400,000 will be left to the side as hopefully not needed at all, so then we can use it on future projects. I'm hoping that this project is under stringent control to meet the tender process as far as that, but all in all, really glad to see it getting across the line tonight. So, thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Benter. With no further... Councillor Arnott, do you wish to add anything to close?
No, I think everything's been covered. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Arnott. With no further speakers, we'll now put the motion to the vote. All those in favour? Passed unanimously. Right, now move on to item 7.9, the civil infrastructure construction shipwreck bay key worker accommodation. Mr Mason.
Thank you, Mayor. This report relates and links to the previous report and recommends that a contract be awarded to Duggan Civil for the construction of the civil infrastructure to support the previously determined key worker housing project. So recommendation, 2 parts on page 46.
Thank you, Mr Mason. Any questions? Do we have a mover? Councillor Benter.
Thank you, Mayor. I'd like to move the recommendations that Council 1 awards a contract number 2026058 to civil infrastructure construction, Shipwreck Bay key worker accommodation project to Duggan Civil Proprietary Limited for the tendered amount of $663,522.05 excluding GST and $729,874.26 including GST. And 2, authorise the CEO to sign, seal and vary the contract as required.
Thank you, Councillor Benter. Do we have a seconder? Councillor Edis. Councillor Benter.
Thank you, Mayor. Yes, another part of what needs to be done to get the Shipwreck Bay work accommodation across the line. Good amount of tenders again for it, and the staff have done their due diligence to select this tender, the tender, I should say. So, yeah, I'm fully supportive of it.
Thank you, Councillor Benter. Councillor Edis.
Thank you, Mayor. Unlike the cabins, this isn't a design and construct contract, it's a construction contract for civil works, which means that the design has been fully completed, which is the second stage, I suppose. The first stage of completing this work to get the earthworks, the service installation, utilities connection, site prep roads, all the required infrastructure needed to put these cabins in. 6 tenders is really competitive, which is good, and more than comfortable with Duggan Civil. They're a well-known, warnable organisation, employs local people, and have a strong record in delivering projects, not just for City Council, but for other people as well. So very comfortable with this recommendation.
Thank you, Councillor Edis. Any other councillor wish to speak? Councillor Benter, do you wish anything to close?
Mayor, just to highlight that Councillor Edis said that it has gone to a local tenderer as well, so the money keeps into the city. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Benter. With no further speakers, we'll now put the motion to the vote. All those in favour? Passed unanimously. We'll now move on to item 7.10, outside of hours school care service increase. Mr Mason.
Thank you, Mayor. This report recommends that Council start to offer before school and pupil-free day care. This will complement our existing after-school and vacation care programs. The additional services will generate a small profit for Council, but more importantly, provide a important service for families, particularly working families. So a recommendation is before you to introduce this new service.
Thank you, Mr Mason. Any questions on this one? Do we have a mover? Councillor Walsh.
Thanks, Mayor. I wish to move the officer's recommendation as noted.
Thank you, Councillor Walsh. Do we have a seconder? Councillor Benter. Councillor Walsh.
Thank you, Mayor. Outside of our school hours care is an absolute godsend for parents, being one of in our community who relies on such a service. For Council to be able to extend that to before school care and pupil-free days for St Joseph's is fantastic. As a working parent, sometimes you just have to get the kids down there before school because you can't miss what you've got to do. And pupil-free days, they can be an absolute pain in the butt. So to be able to offer those is absolutely fantastic. The other part around this is there is a small increase, 5.8%. There is a retention grant that's out at the moment, which increases the wages of our staff, which is absolutely fantastic. So, happy to support this one.
Thank you, Councillor Walsh. Councillor Benter.
Thank you, Mayor. Yeah, concur with fellow councillor. I don't need this anymore. Which would have been good to have back then, but because we didn't have actually any parents in town to help us when our kids were growing up. So we had some good friends to help with these teacher day offs, if you can call them that, or pupil-free days. Look, the services that we're providing by council and expanding, it's in high demand. We've had some really good feedback on our existing services, and the families have stated that they couldn't manage without them. And especially when a bit of feedback on the teachers drop on the pupil-free day, the parents are scrambling to find accommodation for their kids in regards to that. So it's a great thing to help parents with their commitments with work and with their children, trying to negotiate all that today. So fully support this. There is some fee increases, new fee structures and a bit of fee changes, but that's also to help with the increases in wages in these areas as well. So, yeah, thank you. I'll be supporting it.
Thank you, Councillor Benter. Any other councillor wish to speak? Councillor Ziegler. You're on mute, Councillor Ziegler.
Yeah, sorry about that. It's a bit of a sad indictment that we're forced to do this, but it's a marvellous program. It helps the fact that both parents have to work in the current economy, the lifestyle that we have. We don't have the luxury that we used to have, where one parent worked and one parent stayed at home to look after the kids. That doesn't happen anymore, and it's just another indication that it really does take a village to raise a child.
Thank you, Councillor Ziegler. Any other councillor wish to speak? I'd just like to add to it, is such an important service for so many working families, and Councillor Walsh is definitely one of them. And it's another way that council is actually supporting working families to make sure that, you know, mum and dad can get to work, do what they need to do, earn the income they need. And it's more and more important, especially around the challenges we're seeing around cost of living, and encouraging residents to be able to, you know, mums and dads to both be able to keep working, supporting our local economy. And also the wage increases for those that actually, the wage increases for those that actually provide the service is so important as well, because you want to see everyone, you know, getting wages that they deserve. It's a really important thing, looking after our kids and making sure that, you know, parents can continue to work. Councillor Walsh, do you wish to add anything to close?
Nothing further, thanks, Mayor.
With no further speakers, we'll now put the motion to the vote. All those in favour? Passed unanimously. We'll now move on to item 7.11, the CEO Employment Matters Committee Chairperson reappointment, or the CMAC Chairperson reappointment. Mr Mason.
Thank you, Mayor. This report recommends that the existing chair for that committee be reappointed for a further 3 years. If there are any questions, I'll refer them to Mr Plaza.
Thank you, Mr Mason. Were there any questions on this item from anyone, any councillors? Do we have a mover? Councillor Walsh.
Thank you, Mayor. I wish to move that Council 1 reappoint Steve Davies to the position of Independent Chair of Warrnambool City Council's CEO Employment Matters Advisory Committee, CMAC, for a further period of 3 years, commencing from the date of this resolution. 2, endorse the payment of a sitting fee to the Independent Chair of $741 per meeting, plus reimbursement of reasonable travel expenses consistent with the rates set out in the Victorian Government's appointment and remuneration guidelines.
Thank you, Councillor Walsh. Do we have a seconder? Councillor Arnott. Councillor Walsh.
Thank you, Mayor. Back in December 23, Steve was appointed to this committee before my time. But what I will just say is Steve has been absolutely fantastic. He's great to work with, provides us with great insight in how this committee should run and the things that we should do in there when we're assessing the CEO's performance. So I'm happy to endorse a further 3 years for Steve.
Thank you, Councillor Walsh. Councillor Arnott.
Yes, I'll just endorse what Councillor Walsh has said. Steve has certainly chaired the CMAC committee very well, and I think he does a great job. Happy to the increase of his fee. I think he earns it, so happy to endorse this motion.
Thank you, Councillor Arnott. Any other councillor wish to speak? It is a really important role to the CMAC committee. It's a committee that meets normally twice a year, and it really is around the assessment of the CEO's performance and making sure that, council, CEO and the organisation are working well together. Councillor Walsh, do you wish to add anything to close?
Just one thing. I think it's fantastic that we, since 2023, have used an independent chair. I know there's been some recommendations lately from the government to introduce that as a thing that must happen. So we've really taken the lead in Warrnambool doing that. So I think that's a good reflection of how seriously we take these these types of things and governance in general. So, I commend the people at that time for introducing that and bringing that in, because I think that's absolutely fantastic. So.
Thank you, Councillor Walsh. With no further speakers, we'll now put the motion to the vote. All those in favour? Passed unanimously. Now move on to item 7.12, the cycling reference group minutes. Mr Mason.
Our recommendation before you, Mayor, which is really to receive the minutes.
Thank you. Were there any questions on that? Do we have a mover? Councillor Walsh.
Thanks, Mayor. I wish to move that the record of the cycling reference group meeting held on Wednesday, 24 June 2026 be received.
Thank you, Councillor Walsh. Do we have a seconder? Councillor Ziegler. Councillor Walsh.
Thank you, Mayor. I'm fortunate enough to be the representative in the cycling reference group. Just a big thank you to the members. Again, they keep turning up and we keep having some really good discussions that really impact not only cyclists but vulnerable road users in general. We know that the roads are bloody terrible, so we need to look at ways to make sure we can keep people safe as best we can. Some good discussions, in particular, the link to Woodford, the connecting Warrnambool stuff, which we're seeing a real lot of, and so we should. Some consultation around Marai Street, bike safety around the hospital, and the group is always looking at, bike lanes, wayfinding, things we can make sure that, in particular young people can cycle around or move around our city without fear of, something happening. So, happy to receive the minutes.
Thank you, Councillor Walsh. Councillor Ziegler.
No, thank you, Mayor. Councillor Walsh has said enough.
Thank you, Councillor Ziegler. Any other councillor wish to speak? Councillor Walsh, do you wish to add anything to close?
Nothing further, thanks, Mayor.
We'll now put the motion to the vote. All those in favour? Passed unanimously. 7.13, Advisory Committee reports. Mr Mason.
Just very procedural. There's the minutes of the Planning Advisory Committee are there to be received.
Thank you, Councillor. Thank you, Mr Mason. Any questions? Sorry, Councillor Ziegler threw me. Do we have a mover? Councillor Benter.
Thank you, Mayor. I'd like to move the recommendation that minutes of the Planning Advisory Committee meeting held on the 16th of June 2026 be received.
Thank you, Councillor Benter. Do we have a seconder? Councillor Arnott. Councillor Benter.
Thank you. Just like to thank the committee members for their input again. They're finding a bit more of a voice as they go along, which is great, and giving really good feedback in regards to some of the topics that we've been discussing. So, I'd just like to thank them again. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Benter. Councillor Arnott, do you wish to add anything?
No, thank you, Mayor.
Does any other councillor wish to speak? Councillor Benter.
I'd just like to also thank the staff involved in arranging the meetings and participating in the meetings as well for their insight and input.
Thank you, Councillor Benter. With no further speakers, we'll now put the motion to the vote. All those in favour? Passed unanimously. We'll now move on to item 7.14, the informal meetings of council reports. The reports are there for everyone to see. Were there any questions or amendments to any of the reports? Do we have a mover? Councillor Walsh.
Thanks, Mayor. I wish to move that the records of the informal meetings of council held on 13, 20 and 27 July 2026 be received.
Thank you, Councillor Walsh. Do we have a seconder? Councillor Reedus. Any councillor wish to speak? We'll now put the motion to the vote. All those in favour? Passed unanimously. Now move on to item 7.15, the Mayoral and Chief Executive Officer Activity Summary Report. The report's there for everyone. Were there any questions or changes to that? Do we have a mover? Councillor Walsh.
Thanks, Mayor. I move that the Mayoral and Chief Executive Officer Council Activities Summary Report be received.
Thank you, Councillor Walsh. Do we have a seconder? Councillor Arnott. Anyone wish to speak on that? We'll now put the motion to the vote. All those in favour? Passed unanimously. Now move on to item 8, notices of motion. Mr Mason.
None submitted, Mayor.
We'll now move on to item 9, which is general business. Did anyone have any general business they wanted to raise this afternoon? We'll now move on to item 10, urgent business.
None submitted, Mayor.
And just before we close the meeting, I would like to say a really big thank you to Julie Anderson for the last 10 months as Acting Director of Infrastructure at Council. And thank you so much for all the work that you've done, some of the projects that you've actually overseen, you know, the roundabouts, and some of the really amazing work that you've done. And we really look forward, and we know you're continuing to still be at Council, but I just want to say a really big thank you for everything that you do, Julie. So thank you very much. And the meeting's now closed. Thank you.